Hello everyone and welcome to Rewind, the retro video game show coming to you live every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on the AWS for Games channels on YouTube and Twitch. My name is Chris Melasinos. I'm the principal evangelist for video games here at AWS. And on today's episode, well, we're going to go ahead and play through another set of games that are, well, they're Tetris games. But I'm kind of find myself in a little bit of a quandary. You see, last week, we went ahead and played through the edition, the downloadable content for the Atari 50th anniversary celebration by the incredible, amazing wizards over there at Digital Eclipse. And I said, yeah, you know, I've done a lot of Digital Eclipse kind of walkthroughs because as far as I'm concerned, they're one of the greatest companies, if not the greatest company, doing retro games today, remaking those games, rebuilding those games. Absolutely amazing. And then offering them up in this incredible package that is more history lesson than it is just a pure game compilation. And so I was like, okay, well, there's nothing else really on the horizon except that I remembered that they're also working on the new Power Rangers game, which looks amazing. And then I forgot that they had just dropped the Tetris Forever series on the Switch. And I was like, okay, you know what? We're going to have to go ahead and jump into that because it is an extraordinary collection. And it's one that I'm really familiar with because I remember talking to Chris Kohler, who is one of the leads over there at Digital Eclipse, back at the GameSpeed Next Summit, not this past October, but the October prior, where he had Hank Rogers, Alexei Pajanov, and Myra Rogers out there at the conference and did a sit-down interview with them about the creation of Tetris, kind of the history of it, as well as the show that came out on Apple TV. And I remember them talking about wanting to go and get this together, and they did it, and it's absolutely amazing. And one really beautiful little twist in a version of the game or a mode of the game that we're going to go ahead and play through today. So we're going to be, I said, you know, I think I was at the end of Digital Eclipse's recent releases. I was wrong. We're going to go ahead and dive into their latest release, which is, as I said, Tetris Forever. So let's head on over and check it out. All right, so here we are in the Tetris, well, in our, our purple space, purple being the greatest color, right? Because it's, you know, the color of royalty. Let's also go ahead and pop into the chat here. Hey, gang. And if you have any fond memories of Tetris, or if you've been playing this as well, let me know in the comments if you're here to hang out and watch us play through some of this amazing collection. Now, as per normal, I'm going to walk through a bit of them, but a bit of the content, but I'm not going to actually show all of it or a lot of it because you need to experience this for yourself, right? Again, one of the things that they do, especially in their Gold Master series, which is what those three little discs represent down there at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. You know, it really is something for you to explore and to really do a deep dive on. So we'll watch a little bit of the video, we'll take a look around the interface, we'll play through some of the games, we'll talk about some of them. Of course, my favorite version, which I'll talk about, is not included on this compilation, but who knows, maybe it'll be in some of the DLC down the road. But yeah, so let's go ahead and dive right in. So if you are lucky enough to be a Switch owner, man, this is the game for you. So let's go ahead and jump in and play a little Tetris Forever. What a great game to wind down the week with. All right, here we go. And it uses, again, the same familiar interface that Digital Eclipse has really become known for. Super easy to navigate. It kind of reminds me, you know, of when Sony launched the XMB, the cross media bar, for their PlayStation products, and then kind of continued all in on those interfaces, right? Digital Eclipse is doing the same thing, so really, really cool. All right, so here we go. It's broken down into the perfect game. Tetris Breaks Free, Tetris Mania, the next piece, and a Tetris World. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to back totally out of this and see if I can't Okay, here, I love this. Tetris is the one game that is still going to be around when all the other games are gone. Yeah, that's exactly right. Hank Rogers. Where is Tetris? Oh, there's Mark A. Yeah. Where is Tetris Sphere? Come on, guys, you can do it. And then play Tetris, my friends, was Alexi's contribution to the quotes there. All right, let's go ahead and check it out. So, and again, it really takes you back to the beginning of Tetris, you know, why it was created, how it was created. I had the good fortune, as I mentioned, of being at the Games Industry Next Summit, not this past year, but the year prior, emceeing actually one of the days. And then I had the chance to go out in the evening with the Tetris team and sit down and ask questions and talk to them about, you know, their history in working together and how much of the movie was true and kind of all of that stuff. And it was just an absolute joy. Alexi and Hank both, and Maya, all three of them are just the absolute nicest people and couldn't be happier to share those stories. So it really was a very lovely evening. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the origin of Tetris. For over 40 years, the game known as Tetris has enticed us, confounded us, and occupied our brains long after we put down the controller. It's hard to imagine a world without Tetris, but how did we get here? All right, let's go ahead and check it out. Before we actually play some of the video, I'll walk you through a bit of the timeline there. Actually, no, let's not do that. Let's watch a little bit of the video first. Here we go.
Hi everybody, I'm Alexei Pazhitner. 10 years ago, I invented a game called Tetris.
Oh, I saw that.
Great is not the word for Tetris. The right word for Tetris is perfect.
I'm at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. I stand in line, and there I play Tetris for the first time.
It's really the perfect game. Once you've played Tetris, like it's part of your DNA.
Then I go and play other games, and I find myself standing in line at the Tetris machine again, and I play again.
Perfectly implemented, perfectly balanced.
The fourth time I'm standing in this line, it's like, I'm really hooked on this game. I said, I'm going to go to the Soviet Union, and I'm not coming back till I have these rights. Tetris is for everybody, all genders, all ages.
The game transcends cultures, it transcends language.
Yeah, there was that chicken nugget Tetris.
Effect that happens.
Tetris Effect, another great game.
Everywhere when you're packing a car or when you want to organize something.
Tetris, it's harmonically everything comes together.
The thing that makes Tetris Tetris is the well and the pieces.
There's nothing associated with Tetris except geometry, which is universal.
It's no character, you don't have attitude to the pieces. They are all good. It allows you to concentrate on your activity.
It only is a game.
It's not a destructive game, it's a constructive game. You're basically building lines of blocks.
It's illusion, because what you generally do, you don't construct anything. As a matter of fact, you keep destroying the stuff you build.
I love documentation.
All you see is the garbage, your failures and mistakes.
You want to keep clearing lines.
You play and play and play to get rid of it, to get it lowered.
It really kind of speaks to the human need to want to create order out of chaos. Alexei figured it out, and that's why we're around 40 years later.
All my life is connected to Tetris. Every time when I design the game, I never satisfied because I clearly see that this game won't be at the same level of Tetris.
The friendship that formed between Hank Rogers and Alexei Pajitnov really ultimately brought Tetris to the rest of the world. They're still best friends today.
I think our friendship goes deeper than Tetris.
They're both programmers and they both have the love of games.
Basically, I just live with it for my whole life, and time to time strange stuff happened.
Play Tetris, my friends.
Okay.
Oh, I love the fact that he talks about it being his whole life. You know, it's a part of him that will never go away. I mean, just to be so fortunate to work not just in an industry that you care so much about, but to be able to create something that is that enduring is just extraordinary. So, all right, let's go ahead and get through some of the timeline here, and let's take a look at the games that were in that era, right? So here we go. Polynomials, So this, oops, sorry about that. Pressed the B button and not the A button. There we go. It's by mathematics professor Solomon Golem, invented the term polynomios to describe two-dimensional shapes created for connecting equally sized squares. And so that's where the origin of those shapes come from. And of course, they had all these different puzzles, and we've played not only with those puzzles, but we've also seen variations on this. There's one with geometric shapes instead of blocks in those shapes that you use to go ahead and lay down for different patterns and things of that nature. So it's a take on the pattern matching and odd-shaped configuration sort of puzzles like this. Ancient connection with the passage of time. We learn the true antiquity of pentominoes, the observation of 12 distinctive patterns that can be formed by 5 connected stones on a Go board. The very old Japanese game is played with black and white stone markers placed on a board is attributed to an ancient master of that game. So that is its origin, is Go. And one of the things that Hank Rogers talks about is how when he went to Nintendo to get the rights for the Game Boy version of Tetris, one of the things that set him apart from his other counterparts that were trying to go after those rights was that he could play Go, and played with the CEO of Nintendo, and that's kind of where the beginning of their relationship built, right? So that started that off with Yamauchi-san, and then of course we find out that Go was kind of the inspiration for this mathematician created polynomials. So pretty cool. I don't want to play a lot of the videos for you because this is what makes this collection such an enjoyable delight, right? Is getting to experience all of that. So instead, we're going to play through some of the games here. The Electronica 60, I love this. This was the computer that Alexei had built the game on. It was produced by the order of the Soviet Ministry of Electronic Industry. It was a clone of the PDP-11 computer that was originally produced in 1970. It meant it was not a very powerful machine for 1984. In fact, it couldn't even display graphics, just texts, right? And that was one of the inspirations that, or that was that limitation that inspired Alexei to use ASCII characters for the original version of Tetris. We're going to go take a look at it. Rolling on the ropes. Yo, another week in the books. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming in. And the game that taught me how to pack a car for moving. Didn't it do that for all of us? Right? I mean, that is exactly what it did. So yes, good to see you there rolling on the ropes. Thanks for coming by and hanging out with us today. All right, Alexei's computer. Yeah, let's watch a little bit of this. And then
So
we're
what
jump
you
into
see
the
here
version of the game
is
that he first created.
you could have impression of the Electronica 60, which I originally created Tetris. Very old and unreliable. So I think it's just for guests to watch it and admire.
And to love.
This is not authentical computer. It's a little bit later computer. It's a version of so-called Electronica 125. It looked very, very similar to this one. It has this keyboard and kind of Russian placement of the keys. This is monitor. It just TV set. Which produces kind of lines and ASCII symbol, and that's it. Usually I played with the numeric keyboard. 7, 8, 9 is 7, 9 for left and right, and 8 for rotation. I didn't have a hard drop was the space bar.
See, now I could listen to
left,
him
rotate,
talk all day
left,
long.
Drop. Right, rotate, oh, rotate, okay. And then escape when I lost.
All right, so there is Alexei using not actually the original computer he did, but for another machine that was similar to it. So let's go ahead and take a look at how he created this, right? Where he thought about these 5-block shapes that would have added way too much complexity to the game. So he thought about the way humans think, and one of the things that we're really good at doing is 7 is a magic number. 7 the reason we can remember telephone numbers, right? 3s and 7s always typically work for us, right? We can remember 3-digit numbers. We can remember 7-digit numbers. And it has something to do with the way we process information. And so he kind of honed in on this and talks about this and not having any 5-block pieces. By having only 4 block pieces and arranged like this, he gets to that magic number 7. And this is what the screen looked like. And let's see, the key inside range of the game would be over once the well filled up, but this would happen very quickly. Additionally, Alexei noticed that if the players put blocks all the way across the wall, it would block them from the bottom and render that area unusable. To solve this problem, Alexei made it so the game would clear any completed line to give the player more room to play. And that was the one thing, right, that turned it into that progressive, always forever game, right? Really, really amazing. Really amazing. All right, well, let's go ahead and... let's see. Alexei named his game after the Greek word for 4, or tetra, and tennis, his favorite sport. Tetra plus tennis thus became Tetris. And he said also that it sounded good in Russian. It didn't. It sounded smooth, right, in Russian. So let's go ahead and play the original version of his game. And of course, we had the very first rebirth this year. This one, the one we're about to play, yeah, so let's go ahead and play on the monochrome green screen and wait till you hear the soundtrack for this. Oh, wait, there isn't any. So we can go ahead and we'll change this to, let's see, English. So there we go. We have a level there. And yeah, let's go ahead and start playing. This is what you would have experienced if you were playing on that Electronica 60, back when Alexei first created Tetris. And if you happen to be working at, you know, the Elorg Mathematical Institute, this would be the game that you would see. Oh, I wasn't able to move that over fast enough. That's the other thing, too. You can't just hold down the button and have the pieces slide. You actually have to go ahead and press for each move that you want to make. Which, of course, you know, is a holdover from systems of that time and not having key, you know, repress, you know, or repeat, that kind of stuff. But this is it. This is the ASCII version of the original version of Tetris. Love it. Oh, yeah, Blue Scooty was the first player to ever reach the rebirth back to level 0. That's right. I was so happy that that Blue Scooty went ahead and did that, and what an achievement for that young player. Just really awesome. And the technique that he was using, rolling the controller, the back of the controller, was just amazing. Remember, no bonus for Tetris line clears. That's right. Oh, look who entered. It is a wild Mr. Kohler, who, yeah, I'm so happy, Chris, that you were able to get this out the door. I remember talking to you about this last year, and yeah, it's... I was so happy to see this pop up in my feed and then to be able to go ahead and grab it. Really fantastic. But one of the things that Chris is talking about is there are no, you don't get any bonuses for the Tetris, for the 4, right? And sliding those blocks across can be a little difficult too. But here you go. This is what it was. So no, imagine, put yourself back in that time when you had, you know, systems that couldn't do any graphics. And then your colleague creates this crazy game that blows up, and then overnight it just seems to be on every computer, right? In different, you know, Russian institutions and stuff like that. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of history with all of it. You get points for how quickly you make decisions, how high the piece is when you hard drop it. That's it. And of course, I'm reading that, and now I missed it. So look at that. I've got all these gaps and garbage. Exactly what Alexei was talking about. There we go. We got one down. Okay, at least can we... nope, we're not going to be able to do it. Damn it. That's going to be the end of it. Oh, actually, I should be blowing that up. That's not a celebratory thing. Chris is just trying to mess me up. Well, you're doing the work, buddy. That is true. So this is what it would be like if you first experienced the game, you know, way back in the day. So yeah, let's enter our name and finish. Let's see. No, we don't want to play again. We want to back out. So let me see. I think, which one is it? No. We're going to back and we're going to quit. There we go. All right, let's go on and check out some other versions of Tetris that were included here with this compilation. Again, it is, as I mentioned before, and I'm saying it not just because Chris has come into the stream, but Digital Eclipse are the absolute best in our industry at bringing these games forward, at not just emulating games, but setting them in the space, the information around it, the ephemera around it, and setting it in the time in which it was created. So it kind of grounds you in what was going on in the world at the time, the type of technology was available to people, and how impactful this was. And then we can see that progression over time. Like I said before, this is more than a compilation of games. This is a history lesson, a love letter to games and game history that I could not be prouder of my friends over there doing this work, because it's not just creating these games as product. This is pure preservation, and I absolutely love it. Let's see, Alexi's colleagues, can we always love playing this game? How would they let the rest of the world know? The teenage Alexi met a brilliant 16-year-old student who was excelling so much in school. He often got to visit the academy. But again, I'm not going to play through a lot of these videos because I want you to experience them yourself. So if you have a Switch, head on over to the Switch store, pick up this game, download it. Amazing. All right, let's go ahead and play the next version of Tetris on MS-DOS. By late 1985, Pajitnov and Gerasimov had a version of Tetris that ran in MS-DOS. This version was still fully constructed text characters, the colorful graphics. The color graphics and extended characters of the PC allowed for the blocks to appear in a rainbow of colors. The display was now in English instead of Russian, which would help it spread even further. Along with the screen's bottom edge ran the phrase, "Play Tetris," which of course is Alexi's advice to all of us. Now, there is one thing about this. So yeah, we got the color now, but this is also where it becomes, it's not a problem, but it's well, you'll see what I mean. Okay, so we have the color of these blocks, but let me see. Is this the one where the color changes for no reason? Let me see. No. Okay, so there is a version where there's color, but the blocks don't remain the same color, the same type of block. Yeah, this one is much better. Of course, once again, you're like, well, how come there was no music, right? That's what made it really iconic when you first experienced this on the Game Boy and that kind of stuff. Well, because MS-DOS games back then didn't have audio, or at best, they were just little bleeps and bloops. Oh, I did it again. Dang it. Oh, come on, get over there. Yeah, too many button presses. No. My gosh. Okay. All right, this is ridiculous. All right, okay. Let's see if we can at least clear one of those. I keep holding down the button, trying to move the blocks. And of course, I know that that's not the way to do it, but that is the way my brain is working right now. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to look over here at the chat because a couple of them popped up there. It's the Apple II version. Ah, there you go. The Apple II's method of displaying colors doesn't work very well with Tetris. Yay! Thank you, Chris, for that information. That's awesome. Let's see. Let's see. Where is the... Let me see. How do I back out of this one? Let's see. We have to get all the way to the end here. Game over. And let's see. Z right is done. And that's right. R3 to get to the menu. Thank you, buddy. I do appreciate that. And of course, one of the things that Digital Eclipse does extraordinarily well with the games that they create is they give you a bunch of different options to go ahead and filter the screen to replicate either, the way it looked on an old CRT or handheld, different filters and things like that, which really just heightens the experience. So you have full screen, original, or wide. Your filter, it can be a TV or TV curved, which I do love. So I'm going to leave that on. And then you can have the external borders on and off. yeah, really, really cool. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So it's spreading like wildfire. It's making its way everywhere. Robert Stein is both a nemesis and a tragic character in the story of Tetris. Yeah, it's definitely, again, when you get this compilation, this is what you're going to spend half your time doing, is just watching all the videos here, which are amazing. I don't want to spoil it. I may touch on one or two of them as we continue throughout the rest of the show, but okay, Hank Rogers. Now, I interviewed Hank on my Game Industry Legends series, which you can find on the AWS for Games channels on YouTube and Twitch, along with a whole variety of interviews that I've done with everyone from Alex Seropian and Raph Koster to RJ Michael, right? I do love these chats that we get too that pop up here. Apparently, I have an amazing offer regarding my channel and wondering if I'm open for a conversation. No, I'm not open for a conversation, but thanks for popping in over there. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the next version here. Famicom released its first game console family computer, Famicom, in 1983. 2 years later, it became extremely popular in Japan, and Nintendo was planning to release it in the U.S. as a Nintendo Entertainment System. Japan's top computer software makers saw the writing on the wall and began seeking permission from Nintendo to make Famicom games. There we go. Originally, Bulletproof Software, and then became Blue Planet Software, was making this version of Go for the Famicom until Hank saw Tetris at a trade show. And, he had that game go, but then realized, man, this is the game that we have to, that I need to acquire. And it's right here at the Winter Consumer Electronics Show, held in Las Vegas in early January 1988. Hank Rogers saw Tetris for the first time as the MS-DOS version of the game, programmed by Spectrum Holobyte, which was the company planning to release in just a few weeks' time. Hank waited in line to play this odd-looking game and got back in line 3 more times, eventually setting the high score. And I remember playing the Spectrum Holobyte version on my buddy's Apple at his house, which was just crazy to think how long ago it was, but also how burned into my brain that whole period of time was, and the memories that I have there. So pretty crazy. All right, let's go ahead and play this next version. This is the Spectrum Holobyte version for MS-DOS. Let's go ahead and jump in there and play this one. Oh, see, look at that. We've got a little bit of graphics. Tetris is invented by, there you go. Baba currently works at the Computer Center Academy Software, USR Academy of Sciences, Moscow. Original program was 18-year-old Garisma. You can now enjoy Tetris because of the joint efforts of Academy Soft Moscow, Andromeda Software London, and Spectrum Holobyte. Man, that was fast. Okay, here we go. Let's jump in. Oops, I didn't mean to press that button either. Let's go ahead and jump in and let's see. All right, we're going to start there and height 0. Still no music, of course. Oh, shoot. I shouldn't have started at level 5 because it's moving faster than I should want it. And of course, I also have to get the block rotation buttons down. Of course, I'm not going to be able to discover what that is with the square one, but let's see. Yeah. Look at that. It's Tetris and all of that crazy CGA / EGA color back in the day. It would be CGA, right? I think it was probably CGA, which could also do more than 4 colors, actually, if you hooked up to a composite TV. That's just a little computer industry knowledge for you all that you didn't need to know, but I'm telling you anyway. So yeah, so this is the Spectrum Holobyte version of Tetris for MS-DOS here in the U.S. And again, one of those things that that I keep. Oh shoot, yeah, I'm gonna completely get out of there. So one of the things that you have to acclimate yourself when you're playing this is the different types of controls, different mechanics from version to version. And there's a special version that we're going to go ahead and play that mixes all of it together, and I think it is absolutely brilliant. So I do love personal best. No, that is not my personal best. No, not at all. The version of Tetris that I love the most is not in this collection. I understand why, but it was Tetris DX for the Game Boy Color. I think that was probably among my favorite versions for it. Its balance, mechanics, the flow state you could get into. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. But there's only so many you can put into a compilation like this, right? So I love the selections that we do have available to us. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so that's the Spectrum Holobyte one. Enter Elorg, Tetris 2. All right, let's go ahead and check out the Apple one. And thank you again to Mr. Kohler, who mentioned that it was the Apple II version that because of the way it handled colors, the pieces would rotate colors, right? They would never be the same, which throws you off, right? So you expect a purple block to always be, the L, the yellow one to always be a straight one, a blue one to always be the 4. But with the colors changing, that plays with your brain as you're trying to, play the game. So let's check it out and see what happens. Yeah, let's go ahead and drop down a little bit, and we'll start. No, I didn't want to do that. Let's see, 5, 4, 3, 2, and yeah, we'll start at 0 height. All right, here we go. But look at that pretty background there. Also, you'll notice that because there's a little distortion, you can see the filter that I chose kind of bends the corners of the screen just like an old CRT would be. That also means that the blocks have some weird proportions. So you'll see it's also the scanline filter. So you'll see when I move the block one over to the right, how the top piece gets a little bit narrower, right? And that's just, they are emulating the mechanics of a CRT back in the day. And it's just really, really cool. I do love it. But I picked a level that's going to be really too slow for me to play very long because it's just going to get really, really boring. But yeah, there you go. So this is the Apple II version of that. Yeah, very, very cool. Very, very cool. And you can see again what they were, what the different versions were going for and how they were trying to go ahead and show off the technical capabilities of the platform. I mean, there was no reason to have that background there if it's just a puzzle game, but the fact that they could do it meant that they were kind of flexing their technical prowess a little bit. Oh, and look at that. See, I wasn't paying attention, so I missed dropping it all the way down this side. I swear I'm a much better Tetris player than it would appear, but when you're talking and trying to talk about the history of this stuff while playing, it gets a bit distracting and tricky. Yes, you could see those blocks were different colors, even though they were the same shapes, right? So that, again, throws you off a little bit when you are trying to pay attention to the colors and kind of remembering where to drop them. But there you go. All right. So that is we have a lot more to get through. So I'm going to move faster through the timelines here. There's BPS, Gets Tetris. They talked about how they went ahead and negotiated those rights after thinking they already had the rights, which they did not. And this was just a massive, not scandal, but it reads like a spy story, right? So if you go watch the movie or if you read Game Over, press start to continue, you'll read about, how they went ahead and acquired the rights to Tetris and did this deal with the Russian government. Just amazing. Just really, really amazing. Okay. Oh yeah. The other thing too, of course, I do show these off. The folks over there at Digital Eclipse, they don't just show you, pictures of all of these pieces of ephemera. They allow you to really explore it, so you could move around the entire box. You can see exactly what the packaging looked like in that era too. Just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right, let's go ahead and jump in and play the Famicom version of this, right? Which is one that's going to be really familiar to a lot of people that experienced this really before the Game Boy. And there is the very famous Tetris theme music, right? All right, let's go ahead and drop that in. And we got some Techno Tetris. And let's see. Okay, yeah, it's up and down to... Okay, and the drop there. So I'm not used to these controls either, because I'm used to dropping the block by, let me see, will that accelerate? No, it's just a hard drop, I believe. Yep, that's it, just a hard drop. So I'm not used to rotating with the directional pad. I'm used to rotating the blocks with buttons, not the cross pad there. And I guess, let me do that, rotate that down. No, it won't. Okay. Anyway, so this was the Famicom version of the game, and this is what, people were experiencing when they were playing the game. Before, really, Hank Rogers had the actual rights to the game. Okay, so that is the Famicom version of it. Let's go ahead and Tetris Goes Rogue. It takes a matter of twist in December 1988. And let's go and figure out what that strange twist is. Tetris Mania. So Nintendo, the NES, launches here in the United States, of course. Then by 1988, Nintendo Mania was in full swing. Nintendo had sold 10 million NES consoles, which seems so quaint by today's standards. It captured over 80% of the gaming market. NES was not just the hottest thing in video games, but across the entire toy industry. There is Hank showing the game off to Howard Lincoln, right? It was there that Nintendo American President current Senior Vice President Howard Lincoln got hooked on the game. Actually, that's not Howard, but there it is, Hank right there, playing Atari's version of Tetris. At least I don't think that is Howard. They knew that Tengen would release the game for Nintendo Entertainment System that year, but secretly they were thinking about something else. So Tengen was basically a company that was founded by Atari, and the idea behind Tengen was they were going to create games for the NES without going through Nintendo's process of having them manufacture the cards and using their lockout chip, known as the Rabbit chip. And so they figured out a way to go ahead and get around it. And actually, that's a whole other story of espionage, that you can review. But basically, it involved people from Tengen going to the U.S. Patent Office and saying that they were in litigation and needed to see the patent for the lockout technology. And basically, were able to go in and see how the lockout chip worked. And then they were able to thwart it. So they actually had acquired the rights to Tetris for consoles, which they really didn't have the right to. They produced their version of Tetris, and it was shipped into market. I have a copy of it as well, but in a lawsuit, basically all of them got pulled, from the market, but there is a bunch of them out there too. So if you happen to have one in good condition, it's still worth a little bit of money, and it's an instant curiosity from, a point in time in the game history, right? Game Boy, Hank Rogers convinced Minoru Arakawa that Tetris needed to come packed with Game Boy. If you want little boys to play your system, put Mario in the box. But if you want everybody to play it, pack in Tetris, which was exactly the right move. Because what they found was that it was really the parents of kids that were picking up and playing the Game Boy. And specifically, there were more women than men playing it, right? This was kind of the first really approachable, mass-market, handheld device that really spoke to everybody in the house. And putting Tetris in there was perfect because kids could play it, adults could play it. It worked equally for everybody, that would occupy a home, and it was just a universal game. It was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And to Hank's point, he's just like, look, you can go put a Mario cartridge out tomorrow and you're going to sell it anyway. So instead, why don't you pack this in here and widen the market? That's exactly what they did. Okay, so let's go ahead and play a little bit of, let's see, what's the next version up for play here? And you can see this is just packed with content. There's Weltris. With content that you can go ahead and explore. But again, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to spoil it for you. Actually, did I pass some? Let's go ahead and see. Did I pass? Let's see. Nope. The next game coming up was going to be Tetris. And let's head back over to there. Let's see. Tetris breaks free. That's right. We are on chapter 3. And, you know, one of the things that Alexei talked about in the earlier interview was, you know, having to compare every game he made to Tetris is a really difficult thing to do because Tetris was just the perfect game. You know? All right, here we go. Tetris by for the Famicom. In 1990, the next Tris game debuted based on a concept by Alexei and Vladimir Pokhilko called Swap and Drop. Tetris challenged players to stack with colorful, oddly shaped hats that fell from the top of the screen. It was originally released on the Famicom by PPS in Japan, arcade in Japanese arcades by Video System related. Released for the Game Boy, NES, PC 98, and the PC Engine. I've played it before, but it's not one that I'm super familiar with. So, in terms of playing it, so I'm going to skip it so we can get over to other Tetris games. And here we are over at the next piece. So the search for Tetris 2. And here's Tetris 2 and Bombless. Released Tetris 2 and Bombless for the Famicom only in Japan, created by two well-known Japanese game designers who were big Tetris fans, present a refined, polished version of the original Tetris alongside a new variation called Bombless. Bombless, in which players had to create combinations of exploding bombs to clear lines. Again, not one that I played often, but really, really cool that it's in here as well. And, you know, again, as you go down the vertical path, right, for some of the pieces along the top line, it's just packed with incredible amount of information, incredible amount of content stuff. Some stuff I imagine that most people have never even really seen before. Things like a sell sheet, right? So here, the sell sheet is something that retailers, or that companies would use to get retailers to buy and explain how you sell these things into market. Just when you thought you broke an habit, along comes Super Tetris, the super sequel to the best-selling Tetris, the insidious Soviet addiction that hooked the West. And then there's the screenshots. They talk about all the different features. Look at that brilliant VGA graphics in 256 colors in high resolution for Windows. Yes, and arousing Russian music for supported sound cards, which I think is great, which is really great. So there's a sell sheet. So yeah, again, when you get this, it's not just to play the games and just to watch videos, to explore the history of this incredible, groundbreaking game. Tetris Classic for Windows. What's this? Tetris takes over the radio in September. A musical artist named Dr. Spin, actually world-famous composer Andrew Lloyd Webber and his producer Nigel Wright released a dance single titled Tetris, which remixed the Game Boy's game soundtrack. I did not know that. See? Learn something new every time you experience one of these incredible compilations from Digital Eclipse. Just amazing. Just amazing. All right, Super Tetris 2 and Bombless. Tetris in the White House. Hillary Clinton, the First Lady of the United States, photographed on an airplane playing Tetris on her Game Boy. Very, very cool, right? And, you know, there's this discussion that happens with, you know, friends in the industry. We talk about, you know, when is good, you know, we're going to have, you know, the first president in the White House that grew up playing Nintendo, right, as part of their and that's shorthand for grew up with video games. We're not that far away, right? We're not that far away. So, you know, within the next few cycles, you'll have a president and leadership, right, for the U.S. that grew up with video games as part of their regular diet of media and entertainment and art and engagement. And as that continues to happen, right, video games continue to percolate and trickle out into more and more groups and demographics and more people. As we were saying on the Boss Rush live stream this morning, you know, we're only about 3.2 billion players in the world, right? Less than half the population. We still have a long way to go, right, to get everybody. And we will, but we will. All right, Tetris Flash is one of them. Tetris Battle Guided. Another one to play, Tetris 2, Super Tetris 2 and Bombless, Super Tetris 3. All right, let's go ahead and check out this one. It's Super Tetris 3. Now, this is one that I haven't played before. So I'm going to get to experience this along with you. And here we are, back at BPS, which I don't think was Blue Planet software at that time. Okay, and let's go. Super Tetris 3. one player. Let's go. Let's go. We'll just do some A's in there. All right. Here we go. We've got Tetris Classic, my favorite. Endless, of course. And yeah, let's see. What are we going to play here? We'll start down here at the bottom, and then we'll do Tetris. And here we go. All right, let's go jump in and play a little. Game start. Oh, that's good. Okay, yeah. See, so now we've got that that drift down there at the bottom instead of it just slamming down there. Let's go stack these up. And so the question is, I've asked other friends of mine that play, are you a center player or are you a left to right player? Right? Because I like, and of course I'm going to block myself out of a Tetris there, but that's all right. It's still early. I like to go ahead and keep either the left or right rail open, and let's see, make sure I get this guy in here. Leave the left to right, and then build from one side to the next to try to fill up that space. I mean, I'm not going to win any competitions, but when I get going, I can hang for a while, right? Of course, right now, I'm, basically negating that, right? I'm proving to the contrary that I don't know what I'm doing. But that's okay. All right, let's just go ahead and clear some of these out. Oh, listen, they had a little voice in there too. Very cool. And we'll go drop this in here. Yeah, see, now we're stuck, right? We got to start clearing some of this stuff out. And that's, again, what Alexi said before, which was all you see are the mistakes that you made. I love that, the way he phrased it. And the other thing too is, so in other modern, more, recent or modern versions of Tetris, well, I shouldn't say in more recent ones, because you can do it for a number of them, where you can hold a piece to the side and then go ahead and swap out another piece that's falling. I never liked doing that. Like, for me, I'm just, I guess, more of a purist Tetris player. Like, I just want them to drop. I want to go ahead and clear the lines if I can, and it's just too much to also remember that you have a piece over to the side. I know it's only one piece, and I shouldn't be that stupid, but, but perhaps I just am that stupid. Let's see, here we go. Drop this down here, so yeah. Oh, that's right, I don't have that full there, but... Bingo! Oh, bingo? What is this, Smash TV? Is that where they got that voice sample from? All right, so anyway, so this was Tetris 3 for the Super Famicom, but I'm really excited to go ahead and get to the end of this to show you just the awesome mashup version that Digital Eclipse has created here. The Super Bombless Tetris goes 3D with V-Tetris. I happen to have this as well for the Virtual Boy. Very difficult on the eyes, but still a very cool oddity there. Tetris the Grandmaster, the Year of Tetris. Oh, I remember this. The Grandmaster and Tetris DX. Many more unique Tetris games released in 1998, including Magical Tetris Challenge, which was the Disney one. That was really cool. My kids used to play that all the time. Tetris 4D for the Sega Dreamcast. Tetris 64 for the Nintendo 64, which included a biosensor that measured the player's pulse and changed the speed of the falling blocks based on their heart rate, which is awesome. Right. Next, Tetris, of course, hit the PlayStation, Pandora's Box. In addition to continue to consult the Tetris games, Alexei Pajitnov had joined Microsoft in 1996 as the company's first full-time game designer. In a 1999 article about his latest game for Microsoft, Pandora's Box, the New York Times reported that Tetris had sold over 50 million copies to that point, which is just crazy. All right, let's get on to the last time on here. The world is Tetris. Could Tetris get any bigger? Of course it can get bigger. Tetris for free everywhere as the 2000s dawn. Tetris wasn't just getting big, it was going further. On April 20th, 2000, Shockwave Tetris became the first officially available free online version of Tetris that could be played in a web browser, courtesy of Macromedia's then new website, shockwave.com. Players could listen to musical artists like Q Burns, Abstract Message while they played. Now, we're going to, I'm sure it's going to be in here, it's Pokemon Tetris Blue Lava Wireless. So one of the first versions of Tetris for mobile phones was made by Jamdat Mobile. And when I was at Sun Microsystems, we were one of the first companies to actually invest in them, and they had the rights to Tetris on wireless after Blue Lava, right? So it was interesting to see where that grew from. Electronic Arts secures mobile Tetris. Yeah, there it is, Jamdat. The mobile Jamdat paid about $137 million to acquire Blue Lava Wireless, and just a matter of months later, the massive game producer Electronic Arts acquired Jamdat for $680 million. Yeah, so was able to kind of be in the room when a part of that discussion was happening, and just a really interesting touch on the history of Tetris. Game Canon, Stanford University in 2007. Curator Henry Lowood, yay for Henry, introduced the Game Canon, a set of 10 culturally important video games, including Tetris, that were submitted to be preserved in the United States Library of Congress. David Gibson, who was down there at the Library of Congress at the time, I believe, must have been part of that. Creating this list is an assertion that digital games have a cultural significance and historical significance, Lowood told the New York Times. And that's a subject that we would lean into in the 2012 Art of Video Games exhibition at the Smithsonian American Art Museum. And it was about, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, the exhibition was really focused on the storytelling aspect versus just mechanics. Otherwise, you gotta know Tetris would have been in there too. All right. First Penguin, Alexei won the first Penguin Award at the Game Developers Choice Awards in 2007. Right as a pioneer, tested the waters, really fantastic. The App Store version of the game. Let's continue going on. Let's continue because I want to get to the rest of the gameplay. Puyo Puyo Tetris, another great Tetris game for the Switch. Phenomenal. Definitely check that one out. The world's biggest Tetris so far. Look at this. While other attempts at building-sized games of Tetris have been made over the years, the current world record for the largest architectural video game display was set on April 5th, 2014 by the entrepreneurial game studio at Drexel University in Philadelphia. The game of Tetris they created was 29 stories high. That's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. All right, let's see. Imagine the controller cables. There's Interview with Maya, the Hall of Fame at the Strong National Museum of Play. Phenomenal museum. If you ever find yourself up in Rochester, definitely go check it out. Stunningly amazing museum. And our good friend John Paul Dyson up there leading the charge there. Chris said the Art of Video Games was a particular inspiration for the Gold Master Series timeline. Oh, because of the way that playable games are spread throughout the exhibit. Oh, buddy. Thank you so much. That really, I'm going to hit all my buttons over here now. That really just warms my heart. I'm so glad to know and humbled to know that played some small role in the way you presented this forward. So thank you, my friend. That means an awful lot. That means an awful lot. And of course, Chris was one of the people that I consulted with and helped, to advise on some of the stuff that we did for the Art of Video Games too. So it's one big, happy retro video game family. And of course, we're named Chris. So how else can we do anything but awesome stuff, right? Okay. Here's the Tetris effect, Tetris Inc., and all this other stuff. It is all connected. Just like blocks falling down and falling perfectly into place. It's all connected. So this is the latest release from the incredible folks over there at Digital Eclipse. And this is the version, once I jumped in to play this, I was like, I think this is now my favorite version of Tetris because it mixes up all of these different versions across all these different eras. And what I love about it is, you'll see, as it changes the graphical treatment to match the version of Tetris that you're playing for the era in which you're playing, the controls change to match that. So you're constantly changing how things are controlled based on which version that you're playing. And I'll show you what I mean here. But oh my gosh, this one is amazing. All right, here we go. Time warp score attack. We're going to start right here, and looks like regular old Tetris, right? A lot prettier. Okay, and there's the drop by pressing up that I'm used to. Being able to slide blocks, like this one is like right in my wheelhouse. This is the mechanics that I really enjoy playing. Okay, so let's go stack this one up here. Let's get this one here. Drop this in here. Now, I've not had a chance to explore all the different modes and things like that of the game. Or I just picked it up and said, okay, well, I said that we just did digital Eclipse games, and we probably don't have more to do right now because we've done so many of them recently. Then they went ahead and dropped this bomb up there, and so here we are, second week in a row, looking at digital Eclipse games because, what can I say, they're the best at what they do. All right, so we're going to drop one down, and then I think, let's see. Look at that. Stack these up. Leave that open. Drop this one in. Okay, back to basics Tetris. So eventually it will drop a Tetris piece that is from a different era, like this one. So now, if I clear that line, or one of the blocks on that line, it will happen. So we're coming up to it here. We got this one, we got this one, and there it goes. So now you have to clear 4 lines. Oh yeah, the classic. Version 89. Oh, I'm not going to be able to get the big bombs on everything. Nope. Yeah, so I needed to get some of those bomb pieces a little bit earlier, but and I will tell you, I had not played bombs, so I need to go back and learn how to play that version until I can clear out the lines for this version of Tetris. Just awesome, and it's one of the, it's a forever game, right? I mean, you can just endlessly go back to this game over and over again, and it just never gets boring, right? It never gets tiring. It's just extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. I love it. Let's see. Oh, okay, so I have no idea what the hell that is. We're going to find out here, I think, in a minute. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, okay. It just continues to blow up blocks. Yeah, see, so once again, I'm learning all of these, how all of this was put together as I'm experiencing it with you. So, let's jump back in. There we go. We're back to 1984. We need to oh, shoot, see? I was holding down the controller, or the button to shoot. Yeah, I did it again. I was holding down the button to move, and you can't do that on this version of Tetris. So, of course, I've got to be locked out of that one. But yeah, you get a history lesson just by going ahead and playing this version of the game. What, again, incredible compilation. And one of the things we talk about on the program all the time is the importance of going back and understanding our history so we know what has worked before, what needs to be resurfaced, find new inspiration, new stories to be told from the creators and designers that make these games, and experience them in a whole new way and for a whole new audience, right? So this may very well be the first version of Tetris that many people play because they may not have ever played older versions of Tetris, right? And to be able to experience the history in such a responsible, loving, and accurate way that the team over at Digital Cooks has put together is just it's a gift. It's a gift, and it's awesome. It is awesome. You guys did an amazing job. Outstanding. Oh, I just picked a copy of Polynomials, The Fascination, New Recreation of Mathematics from Amazon. Great episode. Yay! Thank you, Andrew. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, buddy. Yeah. But that is going to wrap up this episode of Rewind because we're already right at time. Definitely go ahead and pick up a copy of this. You have a Switch, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to history, you owe it to your family, and you owe it to your sanity to go pick up this game because, man, it is a great way to just kind of unplug, relax, and just go get lost in some of the myth. Go play Tetris, my friends. Go play Tetris. Isn't that what Alexi says? Yeah, that's exactly what he says. So anyway, that's going to bring us to another episode of Rewind. And remember, if you are a video game developer of any size, from AAAs to indies, make sure you head on over to aws.amazon.com/GameTech to discover the products, solutions, and services that we offer to help you on your cloud game development journey. And if you are a beginner looking for a clear starting point to help you build a career or learn to produce games in the AWS cloud, we recommend that you start with an AWS learning plan. This set of on-demand courses will increase your knowledge of game servers and game analytics and help grow your technical skills to solve real-world game development, compute, and analytics problems. And you can demonstrate your knowledge to the world by earning digital badges. Head on over to aws.training/GameTech to start your AWS for Games learning plan today. And of course, I want to give a special shout out and thank you to Waterflame for allowing us to use his music here on Rewind. Make sure you head on over to his YouTube channel at Waterflame Music to check out his incredible work. And of course, if you care about preserving the history of video games as much as I do, make sure you not only go pick up all the stuff that Digital Eclipse does, but make sure you head on over to the Video Game History Foundation's website at gamehistory.org. They're doing incredible work to preserve the history of our industry for future generations. And I want to thank you for spending your Friday afternoon with me. Have a wonderful rest of your day and awesome weekend, and we'll see you next week on Rewind.